Tommy handled this year with him knowing his role now and trying to, just make that role the best it could be?
Good. I think there's some comfort level in having a more defined role than the anxiety of not having a defined role. He's still a competitor. He still competes very hard every day. He hasn't in his own mind just resigned to the fact that I'm going to be the backup and have no chance. He's also, I think, realistic and understands that right now he's the backup and that's his role. But so I think he's handled it great, and I think there's some, he takes some solace in the fact that he understands where he's at, that there's some comfort in that. But I still watch him compete every day, and he's not less into it. He's asking as many, if not more, questions and competing as hard as he ever has. So he's been awesome and has been awesome. My whole time on offense, he's been awesome. As a kid that will compete and try to win a spot, but obviously a coach's kid that's always understood the big picture and always had Notre Dame's best interest. So I've always been proud of how he's handled it and kind of been amazed how he's always handled it.
How different is your comfort level with the quarterbacks this year in terms of Everett was saying he
That
beat
last
you?
spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Everett was saying he beat you in, let's say guys were playing horse over Easter break, and he said you weren't very good.
Yeah, so what we try to do at times when we think they need an ego boost, we challenge, as inferior athletes, we challenge them to things that we know, and then he feels a little better. I said, if it helps your ego to whip up on me, then I'm here for that. So, no, just the whole, not just, if you just look at the quarterbacks from Tommy to Andrew to Everett, obviously, they're all light years ahead of where they were a year ago in every facet, from technically better to mentally better to physically better to their own confidence level. So, I mean, this time last year was still a free-for-all. There was no confidence. They had no confidence. We had no confidence. We didn't know really where we were exactly going, because when you don't have a guy yet at the quarterback position, everything's kind of up in the air. You know what I mean? You're just kind of waiting for somebody to become the starter, and then once somebody becomes the starter, you can kind of start to define who you're going to become, or at least try until that happens, which we came out of spring last year was still, it probably wasn't a four-way battle, but it was pretty close to still being a four-way battle.
How much does having those defined roles change what you're able to do with Malik then this spring?
It's been good. It's still, he's a competitive kid, and there's a reason he came here early. He wanted to come here early and get in the mix and take a bunch of reps and see where he stacked up. So he, like all young guys, has realized that the speed of the game and what he saw high school defensively and what he had to take in mentally to function out there versus what he sees on a daily basis from our defense, not just the speed, but just 3 down, 4 down, every coverage known to man. I mean, we run you name it, we run it from a coverage standpoint. So he's learned in a hurry that this isn't like high school. So he's done a good job. It's been easier. There's been no pressure from our standpoint of a four-way battle, and he's one of the four, and we got to try to kind of evaluate him. There's been more, let's let him get in there, get some reps, muck it around. Let's teach him. He's got a really, really good handle on understanding football, so he's kind of like a sponge. He picks things up very quickly, which is very exciting. Not as quickly as I keep telling him he's doing so great, he feels like he doesn't know anything. And you got to trust us a little bit. We're not lying to that you're really picking things up fast. He's like, I feel like I don't know anything compared to Tommy Rees, who's been here for 4 years, or Everett Golson, who started all year. I said, well, compared to those guys, you really don't know anything. But compared to kids your age, you're doing a heck of a job of picking up things.